The wild Elisa, in her natural habitat, lurks among the trees, waiting to pounce. Hello, fellow neats. So, I recently got some plants here, and what I actually wanted was a cat, but it turns out cats are really expensive. So instead, I'm taking care of these beautiful things. And you know what? I think I might. I think these would be just about as good as cats if cats had roots and leaves. And I think it is important to stay consistent with everything in your life as if it were a plant. Even YouTube, your pets, you need to feed them every day. Plants, you need to water them every day. And for YouTube, I should post a video every day. But it takes a lot of work. But that's the rewarding part about it. Even your skills need to be treated like a living creature. Take drawing, for example. Maybe your skills as an artist, maybe the skill itself is a living being. You need to make sure you practice your anatomy. You need to actually produce stuff. Or your skill just goes down the gutter. Just like if you were to not water your plant, it could just die. So for my routine today, what I want to draw is something I found at the plant shop while I was buying these plants. And it's this funny pumpkin. I don't know why it looks like this. It looks kind of weird. It's really dumb, but I think it's gonna be kind of interesting to draw. So I'm gonna draw it. Ah, it's spilling water everywhere. Oh, the table's all wet. That's a Lego piece. So today's goal, I'm going to be drawing this gourd, and it's got some weird features like these wings for some reason, and it looks like it's been dipped in paint. I have no idea why it looks like that. I swear I didn't dip this in paint. And not only that, it's got some warts and it's got like stretch marks on it. So I think this is gonna be pretty interesting, at least for me, to draw this in pen. So let's get started. So today I'm gonna be using my sketchbook from Mujirushi. It is the pocket note here. It's very cheap, it's very affordable, has many pages, and it accepts ink pretty well. So this is why I definitely recommend it. It's not particularly meant for drawing, but it still works very well if you like to draw with pen like I do. And today's pen is the Pentel Puraman, or in English also known as the Pentel Tradio. This pen is really good to get lots of ink out there, and also it gives you a little bit of flexibility in your line width. It kind of reminds me of using like a fountain pen or one of those dip pens, except it's right in the palm of your hand and you can just take it out whenever. So for today's setup, I have a view of the gourd here that I'm drawing in the corner here, and the rest is going to be recorded right above my sketchbook, so it's going to be easier to see. This is my picture from the other day that I drew. Still looking pretty good, I would say. So today I'm going to put my new sketch right on this side because I don't want to waste paper. So I have my subject matter right in front of me over there. And so I'm gonna try to finish this within 10 minutes or so and just relax and talk about things and talking about plants and stuff because I like plants now. You know, plants is not something I thought I would like, but I actually seem to quite enjoy it a lot. It's really relaxing because I know for me, there's a lot of times when I feel stressed and I feel alone. And it's like maybe plants can't replace friends, but they can definitely do a hell of a lot for you. So I recommend you get some plants to help with your mental health. So today's date is, what is today's date again? A Monday. Today is 2023, November 13th. There's the date right here. So to start up with this gourd, I'm going to try to draw the silhouette of it first. It's got a really like strange shape, almost like a pear, but it's got weird flared edges. So I just start with the bottom here. I think it's just the easiest part to get it from. Then maybe I get this. I noticed that the flare here is overlapping the silhouette, so I'm going to see if I can start to get that little flare thing. And then I get the one in the background. I think for this, it helps a little bit to squint your eyes or like close one eye maybe when you're looking at your subject matter, because it helps flatten the perspective. So it makes it easier for your brain to process. I know I have 2 little brain cells to process this right now. So I've been really wanting to get plants for my house for my apartment for a while now, and it's just really expensive to get anything. It's too expensive. I'm too poor for this. But even with the little price tag being a little bit of a scare, I think in the end it was worth it. Here's the stem here. At least for me, because it's, I guess, what I've realized is that even when you're alone and nobody's watching, it does help to feel like you have some responsibility in some regards to the things around you. Like it feels nice that the things around you get affected by your actions. And to some people that might feel counterintuitive, I know. But I think realistically, we are kind of programmed to want that just through evolution, probably, or something like that. But something about just something or anything just needing you to exist, to anything to need you, it's just helps so much with your mental well-being, I think. At least that's from my experience. I'm starting to get this paint looking splatter here. I'm getting like the edges to make it look a little bit faded in, because it's not completely straight. And I think like I feel like a lot of people don't realize that nowadays, and even though I am a NEET, and it's pretty stereotypical that NEETs are just nobodies that don't do any good for anybody. I think that's maybe not the right way to think about it. It's kind of demeaning, if anything. I think there's just some people that aren't exactly fit for the way things are right now, and that's normal to feel out of place. And some people do it, express that differently than others. I know for me, it's really hard to fit into places, and I feel isolated a lot of the time, and I know there's a lot of other people that feel the same way too, but I can assure there's definitely ways out of it, at least what I found. I'm just trying to get the little textured, bumpy parts at the bottom here, getting the little silhouettes of the bumps. You can almost think of it like a little, how should I say, like a mountains or the background, how you have multiple layers of mountains just cascading on each other in a plane. And so you can think of every little mound here as like a new row of mountains. Oh, accidentally drew on it, but it's okay. I can just pretend like I never made that mistake. Nobody's gonna ever know. And I think now I can start to draw a little bit more of the details of the wrinkles here. This is going to be a relatively short sketch, but that's fine. I'm getting some of the shading in the warts here. It's got some funny looking warts. I like the imperfections. It helps it stand out more, stand on its own. I think it adds a unique sort of feeling to it. I know some people have been comparing my art styles to people like Kim Jung-gi, Junji Ito, or Katsuya Terada. And interesting thing is that while I was inspired by Katsuya Terada at least, and a bit of Kim Jung-gi, but mostly Katsuya Terada. I also heard some people say my art style is similar to Karl Kopinski's art style. I can see that. I mean, all of those artists know each other at least, so their art style is bound to be somewhat similar. But for Junji Ito, my art style isn't really inspired by his at all, but it just happens to look like it. I also hear people say my artwork looks like it came out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I guess I can see that too. I really like the way the colors are done. I guess I am kind of a fan of Araki's work, although I'm not directly inspired by his work. This is starting to come together now. That's quick. Maybe a lot quicker than I thought it would be, but that's fine because this video doesn't need to take too long. I think it's just important to get the daily dose of the art being consistent and stuff. So I'm getting this texture here. I really love to just draw lines like vertical like this to get the texturing there. And then you can draw in a couple of like lines in other direction too, just to make it uneven. That makes it feel very natural. And I got most of the blemishes and stuff with this this gourd. I'm pretty much just going into detail. It's really not taking as long as I thought it would. But again, on to like maybe talking about, having things rely on you and stuff. It is important, I think, maybe as a general philosophy that I use is, as a general philosophy, I know some people like to say maybe that you just need to evaluate yourself off of your own evaluations, and that you should never take anybody else's evaluations into consideration. I think that's partially true. In some regards, you gotta make sure you don't get bogged down by people's harsh judgments of you that's maybe not really grounded in like context or anything, right? But I think in the end, as human beings, we're kind of designed to be social, at least. And because of that social aspect, I think it's nearly impossible to feel fulfilled when you're I think it's nearly impossible to actually feel fulfilled with yourself when you have nobody relying on you. It's just the living for yourself mentality. It works to some extent to ignore the judgment of other people, but also I think for people who want to truly be happy, they need to have people that they care about actually rely on them. It's like, I don't know how to explain it as a logical sense, but it's just it's something I've noticed and experienced. There's nothing better feeling than just someone noticing the stuff that you're doing or appreciating it. I'm just adding some more detail here. It's almost done already. That's gonna be quick, but that's fine. I'm just getting the shadow here. It's just something built into our psyche where if you're not creating value for other people, it's really difficult to be happy with yourself, I guess. Where for some people, they get it from, social media, which can be kind of toxic because the people online don't really know you. But I think what people definitely underestimate now is probably just being real with the people around you, like your close friends, your family. And I think if you can make them happy at least, then there's just a lot of satisfaction with yourself. It's a lot easier to be satisfied with yourself when the very close people around you actually seem to care. And I know for me, at least with YouTube, it's definitely helped with my mental health as well, because it feels like, well, whenever I come back to something, there's always people there to watch it or that are interested in that and they appreciate it. Or I'm creating, at least helping some people out throughout their day. Just because I know there was a lot of people that saying to me in my comments is, thank you very much for this video. It's really helped me get through my depression. It's the nicest thing I've seen all day. And I think honestly that's very heartwarming to me because it's nice to feel like other people rely on me for stuff. Or I have a responsibility to uphold or a reputation to keep. And there's something just so fulfilling about that, where it feels like someone needs you. Or at least, at the very least, someone appreciates you. Something that you don't really have to justify your own existence for. And it's, it is a nice feeling to be sure. I'm just getting some of the directions with these lines here. I'm trying to mess around with which direction I should make the lines. I started with like some very light shading at first with the first lines. Now I'm going over them with other lines so that it gets the black color. So it's a darker area. And then with this, I can sort of add some texture in between. So if I don't immediately go all the way across like this. I try to add texture in between where I think where bumps can be. So as you can see this, it's like I stop my lines in a certain area almost to create bumps in the lines. Because if they're too consistent, then they look too smooth. And that's a technique I kind of figured out from studying some artworks from Mobius. And he inspired Katsuya Terada. And Katsuya Terada inspired me, so it's like a full circle there. And someday my artwork will look a bit different than Katsuya Terada's, or more different. But that's just going to take time with my own experimentation, and eventually it's just going to be my own thing. I There we go. Now I'm getting some of the darker parts here. A little bit of shading on the black areas. Just get those bumps in, like emphasize them a bit more. And that's about done. Maybe I can add a little bit of more lines at the top here because this is quite a dark area too. There's no white spots here. And I think this is about done. This has turned out pretty good. Maybe I can darken some of these black spots though. I say it's about done, but it's never over. It's never over until it's over. Okay. Just blackening some of these black like really dark shadows here that I think should be like black. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So in short, for today's video, I drew this gourd, and this is the results. It looks pretty good in my opinion. What could I have done better today? Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think maybe if there was more detail in the lighter areas, but that's just subjective. I can't exactly think right now what to add that would make it inherently better. Maybe if you have any suggestions what could make it a bit better, leave it in the comments. But I think for what I think makes a good artwork is when you can't really improve it by adding something to it. Because a lot of artwork is inherently subjective. You can't exactly say something's inherently better than something else for sure, but there is improvements you can make to an existing style, but that requires adding on to it or altering something, I guess. But if you enjoyed the video, stay tuned for next time. You can leave a like or you can subscribe. I don't really care. I'm just gonna draw every day. All right, bye.